Hello everyone, my name is Ben of Vortex Nitro XP, and welcome to a video about my top 5 favorite PS1 games. I'm pretty sure all of these games are PS1. There might be a PS2 one in here, not 100% sure. But, you know, let's get into this countdown with number 5. The number 5 is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I remember this game a lot, remember wiping out a lot. It was the first game that I played that really, showed a lot of blood. Well, it didn't have a lot of blood, but it had some blood. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is a skateboarding video game, second in the Tony Hawk series of sports games. It was developed by Neversoft, published by Activision in 2000. It was first released for the PlayStation, but subsequent parts of the Nintendo 64, Gamecast, Game Boy Advance, Mac OS, Microsoft Windows, and iOS. And it was also released for Xbox in November of, I didn't read the year. But, I also remember having it for Game Boy Advance. The Game Boy Advance version was absolute shit, by the way. I liked the PS1 version a lot more. And, this game was really fun. It was a skateboarding game. It's the first time I ever encountered skateboarding. I actually encountered motocross before skateboarding in terms of sports, but we'll get into that a little later down the list. But yeah, Tony Hawk skateboarding, I remember that game a lot, dude. It was amazing. Had a lot of fun with that, with those Tony Hawk games. You know what I'm saying? Them Tony Hawk games were really cool. And I liked them a lot. So, yeah, I mean, skateboarding is really cool. And I'd love to play, more Tony Hawk games. I'm probably not gonna get Tony Hawk 5. I liked the Skate series a lot better, admittedly. Alright, coming up number 4 is SpiderMan for the original PS1. This game is really great because it was one of the first SpiderMan's games that I ever played that actually featured Spidey's armor. SpiderMan is an action-adventure beat-em-up video game based on Marvel's Spider-Man universe. It was developed by Neversoft, published by Activision for the PlayStation in 2000. The game was later ported to different developers and various systems, including the Game Boy Color and Nintendo 64 that same year, also known as Spider-Man 2000 by some players, as well as the Dreamcast and Windows in 2001. 2 direct sequels were released in 2001, developed by Taurus Games, Spider-Man 2, The Sinister Six, released for Game Boy Color, and one developed by Vicious Games, Spider-Man 2, Enter Electro, released for the PlayStation. Now, this game, as I previously stated, it was the first instance that I ever heard of Spidey armor, or whatever, because that game had an in-game pickup that you could use. It was like Spider-Man's armor, I guess. And when you encountered the symbiotes, it got really, really, really intricate, because when you faced the symbiotes, there were actually flame-webbing pickups that, you could use that were really cool. When you shot a web ball, you shot flames at the fuckers. And the symbiotes never even stood a chance. They were like pink, weird things. I remember there was a mission where you had to help a chained-up Mary Jane. Oh my god, dude, just the memories. Like, Daredevil was in it, all the members of the Fantastic Four, Black Cat, Rhino, Scorpion, Mysterio, Dr. Octopus, Carnage, Venom, no, he was part of the Fantastic Four, never mind. Yeah, just like all these heroes and stuff. I'm pretty sure, spoiler alert, Captain America comes at the end. It was just all really cool. I fucking loved the game. And yeah, I mean, it really, truly showed what it was like to be Spider-Man. And the next game that brings me a lot of fond memories that you guys have seen on a top 5 on this channel before is Vigilante 8 Second Offense. Vigilante 8 Second Offense, Second Battle in Japan, is a vehicular combat game developed by Luxoflux and published by Activision, released for the PlayStation, Dreamcast, and Nintendo 64 on December 1st, 1999. It is the sequel to Vigilante 8. Vigilante 8 was indeed the first game. I never played Vigilante 8. Vigilante 8 Second Offense, I specifically remember there was a certain character named Garbage Man, which, spoiler alert, at the end of the game, he is revealed to be the alien from the first game. The alien in the first game flew around a flying saucer. And Vigilante 8 Second Offense, he came back as Trash Man. And Trash Man was amazing, because he had a garbage truck, and his special crate was that he had, like, arms in the front, that, he'd pick up the car, and if it was a big car, he'd just smash it on the ground. And if it was a small car, he'd throw it in the back of his dump truck, and it'd do a lot of damage, and he'd, jumble around a little bit, do a lot of damage. and spit him out the back of the truck when he was finished with him. It did massive damage. And another very distinctive thing that I remember from that game was there was an Arizona map, and you could call down a giant meteor with a big ant in it. And if you managed to destroy the meteor apart, break the meteor apart, there was a giant ant in it. And you could never kill the ant. And the minute you got close to the ant, he would like wreck you so hard. Like, he wouldn't kill you one hit, but he would definitely mess you up a lot. Now, number 2 is a game that most of you probably have never heard of. Jerry McGrath Supercross 98. It's a racing video game for the PlayStation developed by Probe Entertainment and published by Acclaim Entertainment. Here's some screenshots of the gameplay, basically, on screen, because I can't actually get, you know, physical footage. But I remember this game so much, dude. It was, like, the first ever, like, kind of sports game that I played. And I remember it a lot because I always remember there was this one line, if you got really, really, really good lap times, and the announcer would be like, because you were always number 1, that was your number in the game. He'd always say, like, number 1 is riding like a bat out of hell, and, like, that's a line that still, you know, sticks with me to this day. When I hear the line, bat out of hell, I always remember that game, that old motocross game. Say bat out of hell, and it will immediately pop into my head, like, without fail. It will. You know, it might not pop into my head immediately, but eventually, if you just say it to me and I'm not thinking about the line, I won't remember it. But, you know, if you say, hey, Ben, and I'm like, what? And you say, you remember Bat Outta Hell? And then I'll think about Bat Outta Hell, and then that game will pop into my head. Really great game. You were always a racer with a red and white and blue outfit, and there were other people in, you know, like, green and purple, and yellow and green, and yellow and purple. There was all kinds of combinations, like red and, you know, green. You know, there's all kinds of combinations, colors of other riders. You got to pick your bike before you raced. And there was like a multiple of different, you know, maps. Admittedly, the graphics weren't that great, but it was still a great game. I wish I could play it again, honestly. You guys already know what number 1 has to be. It's Final Fantasy VIII. Now I'm gonna read this as fast as I can. Final Fantasy VIII is a 1999 role-playing game developed by and published by Squaresoft, now Square Enix. Is the 8th major installment in the Final Fantasy series. It introduced magic point spell-based casting. It follows a group of young mercenaries led by Squall Leonardo, part of an organization called SEED, initially traveling to different countries to stop the sorceress Ida, and their goal changes to stop a sorceress from the future named Alcimedia from compromising time. This game, okay, the finest Final Fantasy game of all time. Now, it's arguable because, you know, everyone thinks that Final Fantasy VII was the best, and honestly, that game is overrated. A lot of people are like, oh my god, you know, when Aerith or Eris or whatever her name is died, you know, it was so sad. And, you know, I have played Final Fantasy VII. I haven't beat it all the way through, but I've played it to, I think, I'd say about, like, the halfway point in the game. And, you know, it has a great story, but after a while, I just kind of get old of that. Whereas, like, you know, Final Fantasy VIII, it got old in a good way. Final Fantasy VII, you got old of that game, and you just kind of feel like stop playing it. Final Fantasy VIII, when I got old of it, I would go find something else to do. You know, because it had an open world. You know, it was, you know, like, you go into a city and you roam around that city, but then you go out into the open world map. You know, and it was the first time a game actually had something like that, I'm pretty sure. You know, the open world map was so great, and, you know, the magic system, it was a pain in the ass. The draw magic system was, I get it, a pain in the ass, but, you know, it kind of prepared you, you know. It's like when you play Metal Gear Solid 5 or something today, where you actually prepare your loadout before you go in. That's what that was like, you know. Your first time through, you don't know what the hell you're going up against, so you're kind of in the dark and you're kind of screwed. But, you know, if you play it more than one time, or you're going through, like, a second run-through of the game or something, you know, like, you know exactly what you were going up against, and you know exactly, like, what you're gonna draw from exactly what enemies to use to, you know, defeat your opponents. But anyway, guys, that was my top 5 favorite PS1 games. Don't get this confused with favorite games of all time. All of these are definitely not my favorite games of all time, but they definitely are my favorite PS1 games. Leave a like and subscribe to see more content from me. I like doing top 5s, but I just can't really, I'm not creative enough sometimes to find a topic to do one on. If you guys liked the transitions and stuff in this video, SHAREfactory recently added a top 10 list thing. Now, I would do a top 10, but SHAREfactory doesn't allow me to put in that many clips, so I'll just stick with top 5. But, you know, yeah. I mean, this has been this video. It's kind of like, you know, an awkward outro thing to say. But, yeah, let me know what your favorite PS1 game was in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you all in the next activity. Bye-bye.
Mission failed. New assignments incoming. Power levels nominal.